Today I'm going to take you through a skill that I believe everybody should be able to have mastered by now, especially in the emergence of technology, because this is a skill that is going to be important for you whenever you consume media content, and this is about media literacy. So I'm going to jump into my presentation and then we're going to start. So media literacy is essential. It's a skill. It's the ability for you to decipher and be able to understand the objectives that are being conveyed to you by any media content that you consume in. Keeping in mind that media is everywhere. You can imagine anything that you see is media content in terms of advertisement, in terms of the social media posts that you read every day. In fact, even this particular content that you're watching right now, it's an example of media content. And media is any form of communication that is created to influence certain things. Yes, there is a creator who has objectives. They have values. They have the objectives and they can control the narrative that you have to consume. So when you look at media, don't look at it as just a form of entertainment, as a form of wasting of time. There are objectives that media creators actually have in mind, so that when they package that media content for you, they're actually targeting you for a certain purpose, you know. They want to influence certain things in you. It can be your emotions on how you react. It can be ability for you to buy certain products from certain people, right? So that is all about media packaging, you know, media packaging. So media is everywhere and we are targeted, especially when you start, you see, when you're like consuming junk food, the moment you overconsume media without having to understand what you're consuming, it's like you're eating a lot of junky media content, right? Media literacy is essential for everyone consuming media. Why is it essential? Because when you have that X-ray eyes, I'll call it X-ray eyes. So when you have that eye to detail, you can be able to understand the objectives. You can be able to read between the lines and you can be able to understand, why am I being targeted? Why is it that me, who is consuming this content, I am the one who is actually consuming it at this particular time? Why is this particular message only viral at this particular moment, right? So media content, media literacy is essential, because without mastering the skill of media literacy, you will be falling victim into any form of propaganda that is being portrayed online and offline, right? You can be, anything can be told to you and you'll be able to believe, because you cannot tell the lies from the truths. You cannot actually separate those. So what are the components the core components to media literacy? You need to understand that is accessing information. How do you access information, right? If you're using smartphone, those are very essential areas, you know. That is not just a smartphone for entertainment. That can be a destructive device to you and your future generations, and you know, yeah, but it can also be a constructive gadget that you can be able to build something meaningful using that particular gadget, right? So access to information is critical, but it is at the core of media literacy. If you understand that, access of information shouldn't be a problem. You're going to be accessing information from only verifiable sources, fact-checked sources, information that is actually credible, not just any information. So access of information is very important. The skill is also able to help you analyze the content that you're actually consuming. If you are able to see this content and separate it from the rest of other content that is destructive, that is not constructive to the society, you can be able to decipher. You cannot do that without understanding what media literacy is. Another thing is actually going to be evaluating your sources. You'll be able to know that this is a verifiable source and this is not verifiable source. You know, today we are in the era of X and Twitter, whatever. X, in as much as it's a good platform, but those verified ticks sometimes are putting us off, right? Because even me, I can create an account for anybody, any person as a parody account, and then I actually buy that Twitter badge. So if you are new to Twitter, that X, if you are new to that and you see that particular person, you will be able to read messages that maybe those people never actually posted, but because they are verified, you think that this particular person is credible, right? Before, when only verifiable ticks, Twitter badges were to limited individuals, it was there to actually sieve between credible sources and uncredible sources, because they were verifiable, right? But now those badges are for sale, anybody can buy, and you can create a parody account. You can actually use somebody else's name to be creating content that might be attacking those particular people. I've seen that, and it's happening today. Yeah. So especially in politicians, you can see this a politician who is very well known, maybe he's a president of a certain country, but because me, I'm in the opposition, I don't like his policy, I can create an account with his name or her name, and then I start dishing out information that never came from those people, right? This information are very destructive and attacking that particular person. But because you cannot be able to know, the badge is there, yeah. Another thing is also, media literacy will enable you to create content that is able to build, not to destroy, right? Solution-based content, so content that's there to build societies, content that is there to give information on how to do something, constructive in the community, content that is able to promote certain values, good values, to promote cohesion and coexistence among people, right? Peace and democracy. So when you understand media literacy, you can be able to actually create content that is going to be constructive to the society that you live in. Without media literacy, all of us will be prone to fake news. Yeah, especially on spaces like social media, we'll be able to, because right now, for example, there's a tragedy that has happened somewhere. Anywhere, just think anywhere. And this is happening everywhere that there is social media, everywhere that people can be able to access information on social media. So you see, maybe it is the agreeable number of people who died, maybe it is 20 people, right? But because social media is there, people can exaggerate these numbers. It is really, really important for you to understand. When you do not have the skills in media literacy, you will fall prone and victim to fake news. Another thing is advertising. Sometimes we used to have adverts, sponsored messages on Facebook. Nowadays they try to change policies whereby you cannot promote political statements, political campaigns. You are not able to do that so much. So that was really, really important for you to understand that social media packaging and advertisement can be promoted to you without understanding media literacy skills. Without having media literacy skills, you are going to fall prey to those kind of people. Disinformation is destroying societies today. Disinformation is at the core of the rot that we are having in social media. Something which is not correct can be exaggerated to exponential measures, it looks like, it was an anthill. They say that it's you are building a mountain from an anthill, right? It's so big, enormous, that you cannot even imagine how those kind of proportions were met, right? Because of disinformation. Just people do not have integrity to be credible with the information that they're giving out. They are there to just give you whatever they want to give you, and then they don't care, because also it's about virality. Whatever goes viral, people think that is the credible information, but it might be going viral, but it is a source of disinformation, because how people interpret information is different from how the creator actually intended it to be consumed, right? When you have media literacy skills, you will be able to have an enhanced critical thinking. You cannot have critical mind without putting that third eye to information. You cannot think critically if you are going to be saying yes to everything that goes on online spaces, right? So another thing is also you have an informed citizenry. People who are going to have, when you're going outside for demonstrations, you're actually demonstrating with facts. We have had demonstrations and you ask somebody out on the sides, why are you demonstrating? And they'll give you information that, such and such and such and such. But if you have media literacy and you come up with campaigns that are summarizing, I'll just quote somebody. There's a guy called Mike Mshiri in Kenya who has packaged posters and campaign social media infographics that are very informative to the people. So when people came out for demonstrations, they were demonstrating with facts. When they understand that is an informed citizenry. When they come out to demonstrate, they're actually demonstrating with facts. When politicians call people out for demonstrations, they were coming out because certain politicians said yes or certain politicians said no, so I have to just, because I'm a follower, that is called sycophancy, right? You don't have information, you're just following like the way the flag follows the wind. How you become critical? By questioning everything, right? As I said before, media content has media content creators, and news agencies and whoever is behind that, they have their own set of values, they have their own principles, they have their own narrative. You've seen this guy called Piers Morgan on whatever TV channel he's on. The guy is always having an agenda. He will not accept it publicly, but that is what that particular media house actually propagate. And he's there as a mouthpiece. He's there to promote that agenda, right? So when you are thinking critically, you can be able to know that this is an outright lie, and you can be able to actually separate it from the truth, right? Another thing is that checking multiple sources. You need to verify the information that you are getting. Verify it critically, okay? This is another skill that you have to. Verification. We have people who come up with sites called fact-check sites. Those fact-check sites sometimes are not good fact-check sites, because if you look behind them, people say that this conspiracy theory, whatever. But look at those particular sites. They're actually funded by the same media houses who are actually promoting those lies. You should be able to understand that there is biases still on the media houses. All media houses are built with a certain set of objectives. They have certain policies that they are following. There's certain narratives that they are propagating, right? So you cannot start to expect any news from those agencies that goes against their values, even if that news is happening in their own country, right? They cannot come out to speak against whatever is happening there, right? So Israel and Palestine war has been able to show us how the biases of Western media towards Ukraine and Russia is. So the biases in media houses are there. Critical thinking. Don't just be a follower. Don't just follow without having essential information to what you're following, right? Critically look at the videos or photos. There's a guy who came up and said that, oh, the demonstrations that were happening, it was Photoshop videos, Photoshop pictures from Black Lives Matter. Black Lives Matter in Nairobi. And he's a politician. So I am a photo editor, I know how to do this. It doesn't make sense anymore, right? You need to also read further, read more, educate yourself from books, from websites that are credible, so that, for example, if you're talking about health, get verifiable, credible sources of health publications, right? So that you are informed about what is actually happening in the society. Another thing is also access online courses. You can go to school, university, college, wherever, just get read extensively. Information is universal. Information is no longer limited. Information is for everybody to consume, right? So read more so that you can be able to expand the knowledge and understanding to what is happening actually. There's no point of you having a smartphone when it's there to mislead you. There's no point. There's no point of you sitting on TV watching movies that are there to actually manipulate certain elements of your own values and morals. Because movies are the #1 promoters of certain vices that we have in our society. So watching something, watch it objectively. Don't watch it subjectively. Watch it with an objective mind so that you can be able to decipher what is actually happening here. I believe we've learned something in this short video, and I look forward to seeing you in the next episode.